Okay, so we've just taken a setup off this 4 p.m. 4-hour candle. We accumulated just down here on this. Uh, where was it? We accumulated just before the 4-hour candle, manipulated, took this draw on liquidity, and uh, created an IFEG, and then started the move down. We're getting a pretty strong reaction down here, though. Ideally, I want to see this low get taken. Um, yeah, we created the top wick on this 4-hour candle, and we're starting to form this bottom section of the 4-hour candle now. On the 15, we also made an IFEG right there, um, and we've taken out the accumulation lows. So, I mean, last night we had this huge move up off the news that Iran and the US are going to make a deal, but these things just flip flop after the deal. Like they say that there's a deal, then a day or two later, there's no deal. There is a deal. There isn't. So it's all pretty hard to determine what is true and what isn't. Nasdaq is also. It didn't take its top like its previous high, but it has taken this draw on liquidity. It's also made the 5-minute IFEG. No IFEG on the 15, but that's fine. I think just so we can manage our risk, we're going to bring the stop to break even. And we'll trail it as we continue down. Once we accept below this gap on the 15, and we actually have a bit of distance, and we also accept below this gap as well, we'll start trailing that stop because this move could actually come down a lot more. Something that I haven't been loving right now is the gap that has been left since Monday. So, yeah, this chart structure at the moment is so abnormal. There is no real. Uh, the only thing driving these markets right now is geopolitical tensions. There is no. It's news driven. You know what I'm saying? Ideally, we come down here and take this low. We sweep this low, that we take this massive gap out, and that's where I'd like to exit. Okay, this is what we want to see. That 15-minute just got inverted. Just here, this gap has been disrespected. We do have these bearish gaps above, which price might retrace back to before we get further continuation lower. But I would like to see a heavy move down. There's nothing really new regarding the issue with Iran and US. Um, Tonight, there's nothing really like the Bank of England. They have one of their members speaking about monetary policy. Um, Canada has their GDP month on month, So nothing super high impactful. There is two FOMC members speaking later tonight, but I don't think either of those two are voting. But yeah, there could be a potential de-risk before the weekend because, uh, as I remember it, the majority of the time over the weekend is when Trump usually comes out and says, "No, we don't have a deal." You know, during the week, yeah, we're making progress on a deal, blah blah blah, and then uh, as soon as the market closes, then it's like, "No, the deal's off," and then then we end up with huge gaps like this. Market closes over the weekend. There's massive news that breaks, and then the market opens. 200 points above, 200 points below, and just classic manipulation. Yeah, that's a baby crying. Yeah, yeah, it makes it super easy to concentrate when you're on this on these charts. Anyway, that's just life, though. 90% of these fucking traders on here have no real life experience other than just, you know, LARPing and, being fucking kids. I'd like to see price respect this gap. If it doesn't, then, you know, no major issue. We are on break even, so it is a risk-free trade from here, but we're not in this to make $0. We're in this to make some bank. Okay. This is on the five 50K funded accounts. So we're seeing if we can make that buffer, hopefully tonight, and then as we get into next week on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I want to make at least 1,200 a day and do daily payouts. So we'll take 1,200 uh, across all five accounts, which is, what is that? Like 6 grand, I think. Yeah, so $6,000 a day is what we're going to try aim for. next week, which is very manageable. Just going for a $1,200 day over the course of 4 days is very manageable. So yeah, we're in London session right now, but I would want to see how it reacts once Asia low is swept, because far out. If we come down and take out previous New York session low, that would wipe out all of last night's move. Which, how realistic is that? Only high impact news would bring us down somewhere like that. But yeah, anything's possible in these markets, but we're not going off hopes and dreams. We're going off pure TA and precisely the Po3 strategy. Yeah, so I want to see this respect, this gap right here. We have a smaller one just above, but ideally we see price respect this one here. I'll get this manipulation box off just so I can see what's happening. Yeah, so there's a small gap just above, which we'll see how it responds, but we are getting some pretty bullish action here. It hasn't inverted anything on the 5 minute, which is good. So we don't have a change in the state of delivery. So we need to see this gap hold for continuation lower, because this, anyone who didn't get their entry up here is definitely starting to load up on their shorts in this zone. So let's wait and we'll see if that respects that level. Which it looks like it is now. We still have 2 hours of this 4-hour candle. So it's formed the top wick. It's sort of formed a lower wick. Previously, it opened where we are right now. So we've just formed a small wick on that lower side of the 4-hour candle. What's Nas doing? Nasdaqistan. But you can see, like, just before 4 p.m. opened, relative to what price has been doing, so we're moving up quite aggressive, and then around this 4 hour or just before the 4 hour open, we've moved sideways with equal highs and equal lows. Manipulated above this draw on liquidity, but this isn't like your typical A plus setup because you'd want to see it take a draw on liquidity, and then there'd be a 15-minute FEG, which we just don't have. So it's one of those. It's one of those ones where it's sort of not an average setup, but it's not typically when you're trading at all-time highs. You don't have much to the left, so it's not that we aren't trading an A plus setup. It's just one of the criterias for our manipulation leg isn't being met, which is fine. Doesn't mean you can't take the trade. Pardon me, but ugh. This 4 hour candle is doji right now. Mm. The hourly has no top wick. All it's done is draw straight down, which is has a possibility of maybe forming that top wick on this 1 hour candle, but yeah, we'll take that back onto a 4 hour. All we've done is manipulate after that accumulation. So it'll be a bit annoying if it doesn't respect this gap, but yeah, looks like it has a pretty strong momentum right now. It just rejected off this little gap on the 5 minute. I mean, we could keep our risk on the table so we don't get stopped out and it just continues down. But man, these fucking markets are out at all-time highs. They really be testing everyone's patience. You know what I mean? Like, Man, this is looking pretty strong. About to invert this gap. Fucking bullshit, man. I'm just in the middle of something. I honestly don't even want to keep a risk on the table with that, you know. Just fucking make me sick if it just keeps on blasting up. So it respected that gap on the 5 minute, which is good. That's what we want to see. Okay, we just made another IFEG on the 5 minute. I want to see this start to deliver. This is good. We've seen the accumulation, manipulation. Only thing we didn't get was a manipulation into the 15-minute FEG. But regardless of that, we're at all-time highs. So it's manipulated, taken a draw on liquidity, made an IFEG, started um, started to deliver price lower, came back up to retest a bearish FEG, and it is starting to deliver further. I'd like to see this 5-minute IFEG hold and then price continue to take out these Asia session lows. But we'll just have to be patient and see how it develops. So price action right now is looking pretty shit. I might even just cut this trade right here. Sort of disrespecting that gap on the 5 minute. On the 15. We do have this bearish IPG, which is great. All it's doing really is filling this imbalance. We got 1 minute until a new 15-minute candle. Okay, so it's just reacted from value area low. The only reason why I can see that it's had such a strong absorption. Come on, man. Fuck. Look at this. Trump's team pushes for a new $250 bill with his face on it. But there's a big catch. What the fuck? That's got to be a joke. That has got to be a joke. So prices are just really stalling out here. Mm. Okay, so it looks like price is delivering a bit. Could be just uh, taking any of that value from the candle open down to its bottom wick. Mm. But it's good to see that this 5 minute gap has respected, because that's all of the criteria being, uh, how would you say it? The criteria is being respected. Accumulation, manipulation, IFEG, um, bearish FEG, prices retraced into it, respected it, and now can deliver. But I would be paying close attention at this low, because that's the Asia session low. And generally, we sweep if we sweep any untested session low or high, that's where you get very strong reactions. So just down here, that's Asia session low. What is this price action? Fucking just keeps on pushing. Yeah. What we're looking for is for price to deliver on this 4 hour all the way down here. Because we formed the top wick, we opened around here, we accumulated, we made the top wick, now we're starting to distribute and form this bottom side of the 4 hour candle. But it's just being super choppy and stagnant right here. We can look at the session profile. So it's around the point of control. Mm, yeah, it's not easy shorting all-time highs. But we'll see what this gives us. What is this? Fuck you dead, bro. Every time it comes down, it just gets brought straight back up. That point of control. Honestly, this is just being super choppy, so I'm not even going to be fucking sitting around waiting for this. I'll keep the trade open, but the level's simple. We had the accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Now it's honestly just dropping sideways. So sitting here watching this is just fucking mind numbing. I'm getting off here. Yeah.